Great. Well, welcome to 2020. This is the first dinner with the devs for Schell Games in the decade, so that's exciting. Definitely first one of the year. Welcome. We're going to talk about the next year, next decade in gaming. So if you have any questions, please put them in the live chat. Our live chat moderator is our marketing coordinator, Allie. So please be respectful in the chat. Please be respectful to each other. We want to try to get to as many questions as we can during this next hour or so. So I'm Dwayne, or Dwayne W. in our Until You Fall Discord. It's good to have you all here. We have some Schell Games developers. We're going to start on my left as an intro on what they do here at Schell Games, and we'll get started.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dan. I'm currently art director at Schell Games.
Hey, I'm Tyler. I'm doing game art. Right now I'm doing VFX. So.
Dwayne, marketing team.
Mac, marketing team, web operations manager.
And Michael Lee, I'm a senior engineer here at Schell.
Good stuff. So thank you guys for wanting to come on the live stream, talk about gaming and your games as well. Dan and Mike released a little indie game that released today, right?
Nice.
And so yesterday.
Yeah.
So
like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. last night. So today is like fine too.
yeah, and it's called Too Close. So I mean, we'll spend some time later in the stream to talk about, but it's Too Close, and it's on the iOS store.
Yep, and
Cool.
Android eventually.
Android eventually.
Eventually.
And it's
That's
free.
a promise.
You heard it here, guys. Too Close on Android, coming soon. Okay, so with Schell Games, we have a couple questions already from our Discord and our YouTube live chat. We'll start with some studio stuff. I like this. From Monogon, who's on our Discord. Which technology, existing or not, would you like to get to create more virtual stuff, or just stuff in general? Start out with intermediate question.
Mm-hmm.
That requires some thought though. It's a lot of cool stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you left it open-ended. I can make stuff up.
Yeah, you could. So if you could do, and then there was another question that's similar like this. If you could, in the next decade, if you could just create a game on whatever platform in your wildest dreams, what type of game would that
Giant
look
robot
like?
body I control, obviously. If you could leave it that open-ended.
Yeah. That'd be pretty sweet. Do you think that could happen in the next?
Dude, yeah, I'm like, you could probably do like a robot that punches based off touch controllers. Put two of them in a ring, and they give you like a foot pedal control to make it move forward.
Yeah.
And just have like physical boxing.
Yeah.
With robots that have like 500 psi punches.
Rock'em sock'em, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you could be Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. What was that movie? What was that movie called?
Real Steel.
Real Steel.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, wait, is this like a physical thing or like?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
They're like BattleBots, except it's controlled by, or it could be like a bot that's controlled by multiple people, like a
Right.
multi-handed puppets. There's like
That'd be
5 people
cool.
punching.
Requires some teamwork. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
pretty.
Jam Week.
There it is.
Coming up.
Yeah, we need like a bulletproof glass ring.
That's right.
Giant mech.
That'd be pretty wild. That'd be cool.
We do a lot of VR stuff, but when I was in Japan 2 years ago now, and they have, I guess they have them in America, but they're really popular in Japan. They have like the big VR arcades.
Sure.
And some of the VR experiences are like, they call them 4D, but it's like it's like not just VR. There's the one I went to was the Dragon Quest VR experience.
Oh, okay.
And it's like it's a little clunky, but it's actually really cool once you're in it because it's like in a giant room, and then you just have different 5 trackers all around, but it's like sort of areas, but you physically move throughout the space to go on your Dragon Quest journey.
What headset? You have a headset on?
Yeah, it's like a headset backpack
Yeah.
whole thing, and it's like dangling from the top. So it's like clunky a bit too, but once you're in the experience, it is actually like really cool to run around and interact as a team, and you are all it's like teams of 4, like Dragon Quest. So it would be really cool to make an experience like that. So
That would be cool. Yeah, I think whenever you look at VR, and we had a lot of questions about what VR would look like in 2020 or the next 10 years or so. I would imagine that if the untethered headsets like the Quest, if there are location-based experiences that it can really, like you were saying, have this wide, big room, that there has to be some really cool experiences that are going to come from that with the better movement, and then with the tracking. I could see that taking off and being pretty successful.
I have a less crazy one now that I thought about it. Like my brother and his friends do the go-karts a lot.
Okay.
Like go-kart places in the area.
Yeah.
And like limit the speed on a go-kart. Put a headset in VR on a go-kart so you can drive where you want, and then do like the Mario Kart actuated car, but just let them actually drive.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And don't do Mario Kart, do some registered IP.
lot of padding all around.
Yeah,
the
put
track.
like a roll cage on.
And like
Strap
one
them.
mapping.
Yeah, there's one just a circle, right? But then you get to drive where you are on the track. And if you hit the wall, you'll feel it. But make them really slow so that it's not lethal.
Well,
That's doable. That's not
It'll
crazy.
be faster in VR.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
It'd be faster in VR.
You can move like a couple miles per hour, but you can make it feel
Make it look like
you can make it feel like you're moving
It's like a
50 or something.
Yeah, it's like a tiny circle, but in VR, it's actually like 100 times bigger. And they're actually going like 100 times more faster in VR.
Yeah, and give them like little shooters to shoot or something that you can't actually throw. That's like attached to your wrist.
Yeah. Or like you were saying, there could be a non-lethal version or a lethal version.
I meant like tortoise shells. I wasn't going that far. If you
A
want
lethal version. What's a
Yeah.
lethal version look like?
Oh, I mean, just
You get VR headsets and real guns.
You put them in a real car.
like paint guns.
yeah.
That might be bad for the VR. You know what?
No, I mean,
we need
you have
to
to aim
workshop
for the
this.
computer's fan on the.
Yeah. I know in terms of like tracking, I know something that I think about a lot is right now there's not really good like hand tracking. So if that got better, then you get like right now we have controllers, but they're always clunky, right? It's like, oh, you can point or you can make a fist, but that's like it, or you can grip things. But like, if you're manipulating, if you can like type in VR, that would be pretty. I mean, I think it's like hard to make it feel good, right?
You just want Minority Report, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's a
Just
dream.
pull it.
always.
Have you used the Oculus keyboard where you can type, but it's so big you feel like a little baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay, but yeah.
The index controller is supposed to have a little bit of finger tracking, right?
I think so. I guess like not only just like finger tracking, but like ease of use programming.
Right.
Yeah, we need like the inside out ease, but with hand tracking.
Yep.
Yeah.
That
Pretty
makes
cool.
sense, yeah. I
As
want
you-
to see something similar with foot tracking.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I was having a conversation in the Until You Fall Discord about how it's kind of hard. Someone asked for co-op, or not co-op, PvP in Until You Fall, and it's kind of hard to do that whenever you don't have full body tracking, which is what someone
Just
said.
make characters like little floating ghosts.
Yeah, you have no feet. You just have to aim for the chest. That'd probably work actually.
The way that Onward does it is like your floating torso,
Yeah.
and it does like simple IKs to your feet sort of match the ground.
Right.
But if your head does some really weird stuff, like that your head shouldn't do, like
Yeah.
it gets like within a foot of the ground or goes up, they just make your body like a rag doll.
Oh.
So then you're sort of like a puppet, like you're like being dangling by your head. Because when you're on the ground, your body being dragged behind your head sort of looks about right. It's like close enough.
Huh.
Yeah, that leads to like weird bugs where there's
Right.
if you start getting lag, you see your guy aiming a gun, and then you'll see him like boom, his body will start bouncing around and stuff.
I feel like that's a pretty good way to
Yeah.
avoid getting shot. You
Yeah.
just go prone on the ground.
Somebody
and your
like
body
jiggling
moves
through
out.
walls and stuff.
Yeah.
Hand tracking, yeah, we're not too far away from pretty
We're getting
decent hand
closer,
tracking,
yeah.
but like full body foot tracking, that's definitely going to take a little more work.
Well,
Yeah.
some of the full body trackers are okay. I assume I only see streamers with them. I don't even know what kit they use, but it's pretty common for like I'm trying to think like KMB.
Oh yeah.
Who, like only streams VR.
Yep,
As
yep.
far as I know, but like has full body tracking, and that works with like maybe 4 or 5 VR games.
Mhm.
And it seems good, but you don't really know what she's doing versus what the
Yeah,
character's
exactly.
doing.
Right.
So, yeah.
Kuda says, what are some opinions on games such as Pavlov VR would Schell ever see themselves creating this type of VR experience in their own style? So, do you guys know of Pavlov VR that you can kind of explain?
It's funny. I mean, it's like a really serious shooter with pretty robust physics.
Okay.
So you see a bunch of clips of like a guy running up to someone, and if he's able to get near him before he gets shot, you can eject his magazine from his gun.
Yeah.
And they'll, like, they don't know, and then you like stab him. It's super funny. But yeah, they have a bunch of weird stuff where you like pull the receiver back on their gun so they can't fire it. Like, that stuff is great. But
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Guess what our opinions are of that?
we've done Jam Week stuff that felt similar, like Jam Week projects where they're sort of shooters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess to your point, it's very possible that Schell Games would do something in their own style. So how we think about, and you guys jump in too, how we think about VR games are just original IP. What the market is playing. Do we think that there's something that we can do, that we can make it fun and have our own kind of twist and polish to it? And if it's markedly viable. So if there are multiple things out there that kind of already look like Pavlov VR, that might not be something that we will avidly search out to do, but it's definitely not off the table.
Yeah, I guess I could say as far as Pavlov goes, like if I were to make a game like that, I would want, because they both have, I'm not sure Pavlov, like Onward and Pavlov are very similar.
Okay.
Onward has a co-op. I think Pavlov does too, where you shoot like really dumb AI bots. But like the PvP in that is not fun for me, just personally. I hate it because people are way better than me. Or they'll like squish their body into a wall and shoot you out of the hole in the wall. Like this really stuff. But like the co-op is awesome. So if I worked on one, I want to work on like a cooperative, like team-based multiplayer thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be the style lead for. The PvP thing doesn't really do it for me, at least in VR shooters, I guess. Especially because people do stuff too, or I don't know if you guys know, they have like, they'll put like a PVC pipe and they'll put their controllers in it.
Oh,
so
yeah,
they can
I've
hold it
seen
like a
that.
stock, and it's like the advantage is that it never moves, so it's always really straight, and you can aim
steady.
quickly.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
Whereas
I mean,
when I aim, I have like my weak human hands and they're jiggling, so my poor guy can't even hold his gun straight. Like, someone will come around the corner and just mow me down, and I'm like shooting the wall around them. Right.
Yeah, I mean, what are some opinions on more multiplayer VR in the future? You think that's going to be a thing?
I think it'll definitely be a thing, especially now that things like the Quests are really taking off, and it's a lot more convenient. It's a lot more realistic for people to have multiple VR headsets, or just to own. It's more realistic. Like your friends will own one, and you're able to play with each other.
Yeah.
Are you speaking on like local
multiplayer?
multiplayer?
I wasn't even thinking local. I was just thinking because amongst my friends, I'm like the only guy who owns a VR headset. But now with the Quest, like people are it's possible for a couple of your friends, and I feel like multiplayer is always the most fun when you're playing with people you know.
Yeah, a lot of people probably won't start playing multiplayer unless they know someone else who they can try and play with, and then you experience it, and then you play with other random people. But,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, stuff like VR chat and even Onward is like not great because you're in a headset, you can't like friend someone easily. So it's like even if you find someone's fun to play with, they'll disappear, and then like.
And I know some people are really into things like VR chat and just meeting strangers through VR. And I've seen a lot of cool stories there, but I think for the vast majority of people, I know the way I play is I don't play like random lobbies anymore.
Have you played VR chat?
No, not really. So
I had that expectation when I played it, and then it was like, oh boy, like it's different.
It goes places.
In a negative way.
Oh,
Yeah, where like 90% of the room seem to be like just people screaming and ignoring each other, and then the 10% is like a good room, but you can never find them. It's difficult.
That's all you want to do with your friends.
I know, yeah. Or you want to find like a good server you have to like apply to and get invited.
Find whatever subculture, go to their room.
Yeah.
And they all know each other.
Yeah, the people use. I'm gonna mention them on stream before. I guess I'm sorry if you guys are hearing this again, but like there's. Like, you make art for games. There's, like, aggressive, offensive, weaponized art in those games where you, like, shoot someone with it and, like, it puts a bubble around their head that has, like, a rainbow road that winds. So it's, like, meant to make them sick. There's like so much weird stuff where you'll
That's
join a room,
wild.
people will like throw stuff at you, and there's just screaming noises and crazy stuff. Like it was it
so
wasn't
weird.
it wasn't what I was expecting.
Okay.
A nice quiet chat with people, and it was like vitriol, like you're scary. Yeah.
People
guess,
spend
like-
a lot of time in that. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I just feel like the customization there is basically like too open for us, and they just do whatever. It goes.
Yeah.
It's like no man's.
It's like
Yeah.
a really weird sandbox.
Yeah.
I saw a video of a guy who spent a week in VR chat.
Didn't leave.
Yeah, he just like, so the only time he allowed himself to leave was, I think, I think he even showered in like with his headset on. Like he literally didn't leave his headset for a week and just sat in VR chat and like went around and experienced different things.
Does not sound the most sanitary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or healthy, like mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. Like I feel like you get off, it's like, man, that's a dark ride.
Oh yeah. I think he started like experiencing some sort of weird sensory deprivation where like he just like forgot what like real sunlight like felt like when it hit his face.
I wonder like when you actually touch like a physical thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was gonna say.
exactly.
It's like, oh, this is solid.
Yeah, you bumping into doors and stuff. And like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot to open them still.
Yeah, the only thing you remember how to touch is like the rubber on your index controllers. It's just like you forget entirely how to do anything in real life. That's a dark road. Maybe that's another topic we can have for another day. Is the
That's
ethics
true.
of VR.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
But-
I haven't played that long, but there's like that weird feeling. Like if you play a game that's not a bad example, like in a park, when you get off the headset, you're like, that was nice, going to a park.
Yeah.
And you go, and there's like some slight difference that isn't like, that was nice playing the game. You're like, that was nice being there. And I know
Yeah.
it's not real, but it feels a little bit different. Like that was always strange to me. Yeah. Or like going to a friend's house because they were sitting next to you in VR. It just feels different enough that it changes stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if you would feel like, I wonder who's been in it the longest.
I wonder if there's a world record for
Yeah,
that.
what's the record? 2 months, is it still going?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was that one person who spent, was it like 30 hours or like a weekend overseas? I don't remember exactly where it was, but yeah. So great story, but yeah, I really don't remember, and I wish I had it right off of my fingertips, but yeah, he definitely had some health considerations, but nothing that
Sounds like a mild form of torture.
I know, right?
Form of
Yeah.
torture that you
I think that's
created for
exactly how he
people.
described it, yeah.
Something
It can't
strapped
be-
on, you
can't be
can't
that
get off your
bad.
head. You're just stuck in
Oh,
a virtual
man.
environment.
Imagine.
You have no idea where you are physically.
Because like everything feels a lot worse when you know you're forced into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
If you,
If you want to be in it for like a week,
then
that
yeah.
might be cool.
But like if you like try to reach at it and you like can't take it
You
off.
have a scratch on the inside.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's not that bad. You can get your fingers.
Imagine trying to scratch the middle of your nose, like the bridge of your
man.
nose, though.
There's other like, I've played for long periods of time,
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 hour sessions, and like, I do not want to keep the headset on, especially if it's like you're doing an active game like Beat Saber or whatever. You're like sweaty headset.
Oh man.
mm,
I don't know about more than maybe 12 hours.
So you had it on like straight for 4 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's long,
Yeah.
but it's like
Yeah.
it's not gonna kill me.
Even when I do sessions, I do like the Nintendo thing where it's like every 15, 20 minutes I'll take
Oh.
I'll just take it off for a quick break.
The average was like 32 or something like that, right? I think the first year Oculus was out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, something like that. So.
I mean, I did. It was only like 20 minutes of play. It just happened to last 4 hours in the real world.
Yep.
You know, like, just look at the clock.
mm. Oh, speaking of sticking with VR, Syncnotic Dog. That's a great name. Any thoughts on the price barrier to VR? Do you think we'll see VR dropping in price in the future, or will prices stay the same? I know the cost prohibits a large demographic from participating. Yeah, thanks for that question. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think with the release of the Quest, things have like it's $300, right?
Mhm.
Or something. Like it's like that's
yeah.
350,
350,
400 something. It's like
but it's definitely lower than the rest of
yeah,
the headsets.
and
right?
Yeah.
and the great thing about the Quest is like you just need the Quest.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need like it's not just with the Rift. You needed a VR headset, but you also needed a a pretty decent machine to
Right.
run it. But the Quest is just the Quest, which lowers
Yeah.
a big part. It's like buying a video game console.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's definitely become more like console-like, and at least with the Quest, I've seen like some of my friends who weren't really into VR before. They're like, "Oh, maybe I'll get a Quest," and it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, it's actually, penetrating the market or whatever the term is." And I mean, if that does well, there's definitely going to be other stuff that comes out, right? That maybe will be even better in the future.
I think it's kind of like a really neat engineering feat, by the way, how like they were able to make a stand, because like even like a couple years ago, or even now, like the Valve Index is like $1,000, and there's no real like processing hardware in there, but they were able to like engineer a $300 Quest that is completely standalone. So yeah, I mean, $300 is a pretty reasonable entry point versus like, I mean, what like an Xbox, like at the peak of like Xbox One at the peak of it was like $400, $350.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, the next gen consoles when they come out this year are probably going to be like 500 to 600 easy. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, I've been seeing around $499 is
Yeah.
what people are thinking
Yep.
they're going to be.
and that's going to be the model with like the tiny hard drive, right? So
Yeah.
mhm.
I'm so bad at guessing prices.
Yeah.
I was convinced it would stay at $800 forever, and then when it was like $400 headset, it was, I was so surprised. So
Yep.
I have no idea.
And that happened it only took a few years.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
really quick.
really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it took 2, right? Whenever the Vive went from $799 to $499.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah.
I think with as a market matures, the price has to change, right? One, you'll get a larger customer base, so then the high price is no longer necessary for some companies to be
Yeah.
viable, right? So so I think, and cost does prohibit a lot of people, but like you were saying with the Quest coming and the other laptop price or machines have to get cheaper too, right? To that point, because it's not just the headset, but it's also having a decent processing and video card to handle that. So. I think prices will go down. I think we'll see a larger percentage of people play, and I think right now VR is still in that early majority. So we're past the early adopter phase. So we're right in like between that early majority, late majority.
Yeah.
Thing.
It wouldn't surprise me like in 2-3 years if there's like a Quest 2.
Mm-hmm.
But they just kept the old Quest around and they dropped it to like maybe like $200 or something.
Yeah.
Or even cheaper, right? So
Yeah.
and that would be the low end VR device going forward.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this recently. Where I'm curious what the used market on VR looks like, if it's existent at all. Because it's like buying a used Xbox, it's pretty normal and fine. But buying like a used headset that's been on someone's face, it's weirder.
Just replace the
the
line.
pads, yeah.
I don't know.
Or even the quality, right? Like if you're going to get like a DK2 versus
Oh.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
pretty massive differences, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I couldn't even fit the DK2 on my...
I would not recommend anything to use the DK2 at this point. So.
They're not swappable. Like you can't pull the lenses out of an Oculus.
No.
There's no repair either, right? So if you buy a broken one, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's already sort of that graveyard of VR headsets with things like Daydream and everything.
Right.
Shuttered by companies who have moved on to other pastures. So.
Yeah, R.I.P. Daydream. Yeah.
I think we're past the hard part, right? Because like, I don't know, I feel like with every like emerging technology, like you have like the same sort of cycle, right? It comes out and it has a few early adopters, and the people who like are really interested in it and want to get into it early are going to have to pay a premium because the technology is just not really there yet. It's not able to be mass produced at a low price. So I think people are past the point, because like you remember like, I don't know, the Kinect, right? Whenever it came out, like it was going to be the whole new thing, or like curved televisions or whatever. It's either going to
curved TV.
it's either going to get like
That's the thing.
it's either going to pass like the point of no return, where like it becomes one, commercially viable, and like two, like sort of becoming more like mainstream, like accepted, and that's when you'll start seeing the prices fall, or it's just going to go by the wayside, like curved TVs. more or less, and like the Kinect, like
3D TVs.
3D TVs, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Because you still see a little bit of curved TVs.
Yeah, you
right?
still see
3D TVs where you have to wear the glasses. Yeah,
So
those
good.
aren't around anymore.
So
Not
good.
really.
Just stand in the middle. Just stand directly in the middle of the room. It's fine.
Yeah.
Or what is it? Samsung was so excited about the foldable phone.
Oh, but yeah.
Oh, the
They're still making those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still trying to.
I think photovoltaic
Oh,
is
dude.
still early.
Oh, yeah. That's still really
but
early.
they had to pull back because didn't it, the battery kept it's still batteries of Samsung that there was still, it was either like,
Yeah, I think. I mean, this is Motorola, but they announced like the new Razr, and that has a foldable screen.
I saw that.
That's right.
That
That's
actually
really
looks
cool.
really cool, yeah. But it's like $1,500, so
Yeah,
like,
it's really expensive.
going with that or a Valve Index, you know what I mean? So, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how. Or screen technology is always crazy though.
yeah.
It moves so quickly now. It's like, oh yeah, those expensive 4K TVs, and now it's like 4K monitors are they're not cheap yet, but they're
not
way
cheap yet.
they're like
Yeah.
way more affordable. So.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just waiting for some player that like we kind of, well, not that we see on the outskirts to get some cred from, some, big brand, like all of a sudden Dave & Buster's, buys like 200,000 of the Pimax,
Oh, yeah, the
2.0
big, like-
or something.
Man, those actually look kind of interesting. Have you seen like the reviews on those? The PMax or PIMAX 8K?
Yeah, the
VR
8K,
headsets?
yeah.
Like
Oh,
the
wow.
super wide FOV.
the bug-eyed one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Those actually, I might get some flack, but like those actually look kind of cool.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Aren't
like
they like 10 pounds or something?
yeah, like they're heavy, but like apparently the experience is really good. If you can take the weight, like
So maybe they just combine with like Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like neck training.
Yeah, that's right.
Try to not like do this whenever you have it on. Yeah, no, that's good. I don't know, but apparently it's like an 8K display. It's one of the highest resolution displays
wow.
on the market, at
Yeah.
the consumer market.
It's more to render.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fascinating,
Oh,
right? It's
yeah.
just fascinating hearing all those the smaller players, what they're trying to do with like graphics or field of view. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, there's players in the space I don't think really a lot of people even know about, which is like, I mean, I guess you have the same thing with a lot of technology, but like I looked on Amazon for VR headsets, and like the amount of like just sort of, I don't even know what you would call them, I guess AA sort of producers of these headsets that like I've never even heard of for like $350. It's like people are trying to get into it. So yeah, I guess to wrap it all back and bring to a starting point, yeah, I think once you start seeing people like besides Oculus or like Valve get into it, like you have these random people that are just making these VR headsets, I think it's going to become a little bit more mainstream.
Or like those haptic vests. So
yeah.
if you're playing like Creed,
Yeah.
it says someone gunning, like you actually feel it. Like I don't know how I would feel.
Oh man,
It's like you're actually fighting and maybe getting beat up.
You
oh
die in VR. You die in VR.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm so skeptical of those because looking like they don't say how they actuate like next
right.
gen haptics, thermal haptics, feel heat and cold,
Mm-hmm.
and like how are you doing that? And like there wasn't any breakdown on how. Like this is a magic device. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I'll believe it when I can feel it.
Yeah.
Or it's punching me in the chest, and I'll be like, yeah.
you got to fund the Kickstarter first, man.
Yeah.
They only need $1,005,000.
I'm so I mean
Hardware Kickstarters.
Yeah.
I don't
Never.
know.
They're tough. They're tough.
I'm skeptical about all that peripheral like the what's the treadmill.
Virtuix Omni.
Yeah,
man.
something
I was
like that.
literally just about to bring that up.
I don't
Yeah.
like all that stuff. It's cool, but like I'm never gonna buy it, and I'm so skeptical it's ever gonna be fun to play
Dude,
on.
did you see like the video? Like this was back in like 2013. Like they were early.
Yeah.
I remember the video. I'll never forget. Like this dude, it was their own video, and he had this headset on, and he had this like sort of weird like looking spandex suit on, and he was tied into like the Virtuix Omni treadmill, and he had these weird shoes on, and you basically had to like do like one of these
Yeah, like-
wobbles.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
In order to
Like,
actually move.
It's like
It's like a
Yeah.
shuffle.
Yeah.
Basically, so.
What are
It's
the
like self-contained hamster ball.
Yeah,
What are
exactly,
the things
yeah.
you put little kids in when they can't walk yet and they bounce around?
Oh, it's like
It feels just like when a walker,
Yeah.
a
One
walker.
of
It
those
feels just like
harnesses.
it's like an adult walker.
Yeah.
And it looks so goofy.
And he was playing like Battlefield 4.
Yeah.
And like he had like the whatever the
I think I
controller
know the
with
video you're
yeah,
talking about,
exactly.
yeah.
And like in order for him to start running, he has to do like a 30-degree tilt and just like
Oh yeah, they're always like leaning a little like more forward.
it's
than you
like that's
expect.
so like nerve-wracking. Like
Yeah.
imagine having one of those on and like having to tilt forward and like what if the whole thing just falls?
There's the one double treadmill, right, where like the strands of treadmill go this way.
Saw that
and they have
too,
rollers
yeah.
on that go that way, and they're like, yeah, just when you start running, lean into it a lot, and then when you stop, you have to lean backwards, or you're gonna get thrown off the treadmill.
I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound very
The
fun.
physics just don't work
Oh,
out.
man.
I think I remember seeing that one, and they were playing. Do you know what Arma is? Arma
Yeah.
3. He was playing Arma 3. I'm like, man, imagine trying to like walk around because this is like a military simulator, right? You
Yeah.
have to walk like kilometers on end. Imagine trying to. That's a workout right there.
Yeah.
It's probably good for that though, because the army you move really slow, right? So like
That's true, yeah.
Battlefield, they run like 30 miles an hour. But like armor's nice
All
and
those
leisurely.
sprinting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If you're controlling a tank, it slows down as you.
Yeah, imagine trying like how do you control a tank on like one of those or like any
That's
vehicle?
what the AK headset's for, is because you just rotate.
Yeah, that's right. You are the tank.
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, speaking of all the hardware talk, Impatient asks, does Schell Games plan to make any hardware at the moment? Not that I know of. We're more in the developing experiences for specific hardware
Yeah.
versus creating hardware.
No Happy Atoms too.
Yeah, and, well, the closest.
Well, that's a
we've-
partner.
Yeah, the closest we've come is something like Happy Atoms. where
Right.
We didn't manufacture the physical components, but we worked with a partner to help design
Right.
the design of the atoms and everything. But
Yeah.
that's probably not our forte. So.
No.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
So I mean, there are some prototypes with other like physical toys that have been in the studio and is still being mulled around. But in terms of like, VR hardware or something of that, or
I mean,
a controller of some type, I don't think.
we do. I mean, we do have a lot of hardware tinkerers.
Right.
I mean, Jesse himself during Jam Week,
Right.
he always does like a project which involves like some level of physical crafting. All right.
That's true.
And so we have, but yeah, making hardware is tough and expensive and requires a lot of risk
Yeah.
and expertise. So.
I think the example I always think of is like whatever new platform. They're like, oh yeah, look at this controller, like Ouya or a Stadia, whatever. It's like we spent like months developing, or years developing like the controller concept. You look at it and you're like, oh, that's just an Xbox controller.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, they spent all this time.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. Man.
But the sad thing is they probably did spend months doing it because it just takes a lot of work to build something of even close to the quality of like people who've been doing it for like decades, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but then you just look at it and goes like, oh, so it's like it's a worse Xbox controller.
Yeah. Yeah. Wolf Point KC asks or says, hi everyone at Schell Games. I played your I Expect You to Die space level and it was amazing. I loved it. So do you guys plan on doing any more levels for the game? So Wolf Point, we love hearing from I Expect You to Die fans. There are several conversations about what's the next stage for I Expect You to Die, what that might look like, what the timeline might be. So just we still have a bi-monthly newsletter for I Expect You to Die. So if you haven't subscribed to it, go to the website and subscribe there, and you'll be amongst the first to know what the next steps of I Expect You to Die might look like.
I'm happy you liked it. It's awesome to hear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Tyler did some stuff like what have you guys done for I Expect You to Die?
Oh, he's like the main environment person.
I mean, we did the
you
space
go.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys did the space
Yeah,
level.
we
Okay.
did.
Yeah. You guys were,
So there you go.
you
Yeah.
guys
We're like
did
main
all
artists.
the art and all the.
That's awesome.
the
Most of the
environments.
artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the
A
El
couple of
Cha.
others, like Trey and a couple of others.
Yeah,
That's
Michelle,
true.
Thorne,
Michelle,
Trey.
Thorne, yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah, that's right. Thorne did it.
It's
a lot,
always
too.
more people than you think.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
that's
a
the
big
thing with
effort.
any game. It's like
Yeah.
you look at the credits list, and it's like, yeah, a lot of people, even if they weren't full time,
Yeah.
there
Sure.
are a lot of people helping out, right? So
El Chapo. Oh, El Chapo donated $2 to the stream, so thank you, El Chapo. I think that was our first donation.
Yeah.
He said, or they say, Toontown 2 VR, please. That's
I would love to
I'm
work
with
on
you
that.
100%,
Yeah.
man.
that'd be quite the lift. Yeah.
have the Toontown
Rewritten.
rewritten guys. I'm sure they must have done some VR experiments, but that's
Yeah.
Joey was here.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, those guys are so dedicated.
They are.
to Toontown. So.
Yeah. El Chapo, if you're not familiar with the Toontown Rewritten, I would probably believe that you are familiar with
Yeah,
them.
I gotta believe.
Yeah. So there's nothing in the studio about that just yet, but Toontown is still a Disney property. So if anything that gets moved on with the Toontown IP, it'll come from Disney, and if we're in that conversation, that'd be a cool place to be.
You never know. They might want the rights to like Mickey drop.
Yeah, you never know.
Can always dream. You scoop it up, make Toontown 2.
Only,
That's right.
it's
Someone
only a
forgets
few
to
more
re-register
years.
the
Few
IP.
more years.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, that's true, right? Isn't that actually like happening?
Oh yeah, we gotta be first.
Yeah.
We gotta
Just
get
wait.
Yeah.
It's the answer is it's complicated.
Oh.
Yeah,
The rights end when they decide it ends.
That's right.
basically.
See, Impatient says, I know this is about VR in general, but do we have a new date for Until You Fall's next update yet? Just a couple more weeks, Impatient. If the announcement is coming sooner than you think. Oh yeah, it's funny. Be patient, Impatient. Yeah. So you're living up to your Discord name. Let's see, Philip Donahue. Do the devs at Schell hope or plan to develop more for VR, about the same amount in VR? Or do you see a stronger shift back to focusing on 2D screen experiences? So it's funny you ask that, because we're doing a lot of location-based experiences right now with a mix of VR, with a mix of 2D, with a mix of mobile. So we're really doing a little bit of, we do between 7 to 10 projects at a time. That's something that, being almost 130 people, we're fortunate in doing. So it looks like, you guys can speak to this as well, it looks like we're going to continue to ride the VR train while the audience continues to grow. But I don't see any significant shifts in priority.
It feels more exciting to work on VR games because it's like more obvious you're on the bleeding edge, But like, I guess I work on art, so sometimes it's frustrating because there's some stuff that just doesn't work or you can't do because the specs are lower.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always like, for some of the artists in the studio, they're like they want to be on more 2D stuff, and then some of us are like loving what VR offers. So
Yeah.
depends on the person, I think.
Yeah, I think like quest development, I think it's gonna be pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I sort of like working with under constraints, but it's always a little struggle to get things to look better than you want them to. Yeah.
And our engineer, what do you think?
I think it's interesting. We have a lot of, there's a lot of enthusiasm within Schell for VR, not just like from top to bottom, right?
Yep.
So, and I think a lot of, I don't know if we're past the point where I think like VR, we know VR is going to stick around, like,
Right.
and then people are going to play games and people are going to buy games, and so for us, it's like, it's still interesting, it's still cool to work with, but as Tyler says, it's like, you never know. 5 years from now, maybe like AR really takes off, and like AR headsets are the new hot thing, all right?
We've done some AR stuff.
Yeah, but I feel like, one thing we always pride ourselves here at Schell is like we like doing new things. We like proving out risky ideas, and hopefully, like if magical AR devices or whatever happens in the future, or whatever may happen, who knows? Like we get full robot suits, and we'll be working on those.
If you could only work on one, traditional VR or AR forever.
Forever.
What would you pick?
Or for the
Like,
yeah, go
from
ahead.
this point forward.
Yeah,
Wow.
I like that.
With no limitations.
Well, whatever limitations that you expect to work under normally.
Ah,
Like nothing else changes except you can't work on the other two.
oh, that's interesting. So my personal thing is I think AR is actually going to be really cool, but AR is like sort of where
So,
VR was like 8 to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where it's like it's like very gimmicky still.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's a couple of good uses of AR, but no one's like really figured out a great gaming use, right? It's
Right.
just sort of like, oh, it's like a lot of cool stuff. You do cool stuff in
Yeah.
Snapchat or Instagram filters or whatnot, but
Would you consider Pokemon Go AR?
It totally is. You can't.
I mean, it is, but I think like the AR is cool, but it's not a. Like,
It's not a game.
You
Oh,
could,
yeah.
Well, you can totally turn off the AR and use the geolocation stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
gotcha.
like the primary
Well, I gotta
gaming
s- yeah, I
mechanic.
gotta
That's
see
not part of
battery
the
turn on
core.
the AR.
Yeah, that's.
So-
I feel like that's what every serious Pokemon Go player I know is like.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you don't play with AR because it drains way too much battery. So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You
Oh,
gotta
that's
save the
interesting.
battery life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it is nice. It's like, oh yeah, I'm hanging out with my Pokemon. You turn on the AR and it's like Pokemon's like next to you on like a desk or something.
Right.
Mhm.
That's not part of like the core gameplay loop. I gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
The most impactful AR, like there was one I saw online years ago where it's like in an airport and you take a photo with the football players of that city and you hit checkboxes to enable players and you stand
Oh,
in a spot and they have like Z filters so they're behind or around you.
I saw
And it's-
that.
And the,
yeah.
the output is convincing enough because you know where you're going to be standing that it like looks like you could convince family that you had a photo with them.
Yeah.
And like that's probably the best. Yeah.
I mean, so I help out with like some game competitions and such, and they do like, like you get a lot of experimental stuff. So sometimes you get like really cool things like AR experiences where some of the fun ones that I played are like people are because a common use of AR in gaming is like, oh look, there's like a thing on the table, and you gotta like use it to build, like you're playing like a shooting game or pillar game or tower game or something. But I've seen ones where it's like everyone has their phone, but they're all seeing something a little different. And so then the game becomes about communication because you're all trying to solve a puzzle together, but you're not all seeing the same thing.
Right.
So stuff like that, I think, is like starting to tap into like the interesting part of what AR could do. So.
That's cool. Yeah, if there are any questions about, we have a bunch of VR questions, but you have any AR questions too, or maybe we can open it up to the AR VR conversation. Crosis asks, would Schell Games like to make more interesting engagements of the mind in VR? I know a studio made Border Patrol, Papers, Please VR, but never finished it. That style of game would be so fun in VR.
Sort of like a more
Like thinking game.
like a serious approach to like more serious
Yeah.
topic. I think, well, we've done, maybe not in a game, but we've done like academic or educational experiences in VR that are definitely like deal with like more serious subject matter. Maybe not necessarily like dark subject matter, but like taking a more scholarly approach to things.
Yeah.
Yeah, Papers, Please VR was a Jam Week pitch a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Like 3 years ago, too. But it didn't get started. But, like, yeah, the idea of, because it fits a lot of things well. Like, you're locked in a spot, and people put stuff through a slot, so you can't expect to interact with them. But,
Yeah.
yeah. That was back, I think, DK1.
Oh wow.
When we're like, well, you're not going to translate, so we could do full motion video, and just film it stereoscopically.
Oh yeah.
To have like a VR
From a
person,
single
and then
pivot.
like as soon as Jam Week started to approach, they released DK2, and like, the whole idea blew up, which is good. But yeah.
Let's see. Back to this. Any potential new health concerns about VR? New threats or something like that?
Walls.
Walls are
Walls are a
dangerous.
problem,
yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, walls and tables could be serious health concerns and obstacles.
I've heard stuff about like because the monitor is like right here that like the vision it does affect your vision, but I mean, I don't know any.
That's what your mom always told us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
don't
TV.
sit so close to the TV.
Yeah, but now, yeah.
We
it's
can't
nice.
sit any closer.
This
Yeah.
is the Quest Christmas, right? It was like a 3/4 of a mil Quest sold to this point.
Mm-hmm.
So we have yet to hit the first summer with a lot of Quest in circulation.
Right.
So we're gonna. My guess is this summer we're gonna get a bunch of those Pokemon Go scaremongering articles of like, oh, kids are walking into the street in VR, they think it's safe, and like
Yeah.
that is definitely gonna happen because the Quest is untethered VR, and it's awesome to have it like outside.
Yeah.
But it seems like last summer all the people that I saw that had Quests outside were enthusiasts.
Right.
And now Christmas happened, so we'll see.
Yeah.
That's a threat.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I agree with you. I still think a lot of it, like, it's such a small market size to have any significant data for, health concerns that, the random cases or the studies that we've seen that's been passed around that, the sample size is just so low for, to come with any conclusive conclusions.
Yeah, there's the feeling I got from because Facebook has their do not let kids under 14 or something. They have,
13.
13.
Yeah.
And the feeling I always get from that is that they're just trying to preemptively,
They're covering their butts.
just in case anything happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean there was like a guy who died in VR. That happened a year and a half ago. And I was like, that's the first time that's
Right.
ever happened.
Right.
That's
I
the
was-
guy who fell through the
Fell into a
table.
glass table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like that. I mean,
Furniture is still the
Yeah.
number one danger when using VR.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's like cyberpunk news headline, right? Like man dies from But
I mean, it happens in the studio all the time. People will be in VR testing at their desk and they'll
Yeah.
punch through their monitors.
Yeah.
Not through, but they'll punch their monitors.
It's like,
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, if the biggest physical threat to using VR right now is just, the obstacles around you, right? It's still...
I almost got whacked by one of our Until You Fall developers because I was walking behind him
Yeah.
while he was testing. And
Same exact thing happened
Yeah.
to me. Yep.
I was like, oh.
It's like, oh.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious if there's a social dependency concern. Because I do, like you mentioned, some people spend a lot of time in VR chat.
Mm.
And I know a few people who spend maybe 20, 40 hours a week in VR chat.
Oh, wow.
That's a
Wow.
lot of time. And I don't join them, so I don't know what kind of VR chat they're doing.
Because there are many kinds.
I didn't mean that. Whatever you assume. No, I mean they could be in PC,
Right.
and not in VR.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I'm
I
not
gotcha.
sure. They could be
Oh,
in
gotcha.
They could just be treating it as
Yeah,
a
it's treating it as a
chatting.
chat room. But if you're in VR, it does feel a little more tangible and real. So there might be some of the same things that give you MMO
Mhm.
addictions. Probably are just stronger in
man.
VR.
Mhm.
Can't wait till we have our first MMO in VR. Maybe it's already happened. I
It's
don't know.
happened,
No,
but they're not super well reviewed.
Right.
MMOs are hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else we got? Let's see. Phil Donahue asking the real question. Is it VR, AR, XR, or spatial computing?
Spatial computing, I haven't heard of
Who uses spatial
Is what?
computing?
Oh, the
think the
engineers that
terminology.
went to.
Yeah, I guess
No.
the
I think
terminology.
people got tired of saying VR, AR, so a lot of people have moved to XR
that.
Yeah.
Combined.
just because it's it saves you two letters.
Right.
So
Yeah. Extended realities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that stands for, extended
Why?
reality.
Mhm.
Oh, I thought they combined the V and the A to make an X.
Oh.
Nice.
that's sort of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that one better. Because I guess MR kind of went out
Would it
of
make
mixed
an N?
realities.
Mm.
It would make an N with a line.
Well, it's like the V and then the A is on
Like
the bottom.
the
Yeah, it's like
bottom
if you
line.
merged
Oh,
them
they're on
together.
top.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
on top.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, XR is fine.
Why combine them though? Because they're super different.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's like us, right? Or the developers tend to there's a high development overlap. This is the
yeah.
most relevant for development conferences I've noticed, and it's
yeah.
just people get tired of always typing VR/AR.
Yeah.
That's true.
So it was nice to find a single.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Single
VR/AR, quote unquote XR.
Yes.
Now you just make the whole statement.
It's
Yeah,
like-
VR, AR, XR.
It's the joke about, like, there's too many standards. We should create one standard to encompass all the standards.
A standard for the standard.
Metric reality.
Yep.
Let's see. Sleepyhead, do you have any plans for a FPS shooter in the future? Something like a tactical shooter with realistic mechanics. This would be really nice to see from Schell. It for sure be an experience. What do you guys have to say to that?
We have experimented with stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can say that. Yeah, there's also like, if you've played VR, you've probably played one also already. Because like a third of the successful market is that kind of game.
Yeah.
But yeah, there have been like multiple Jam Week projects experimenting with that.
Yeah, I feel like if we ever did something, it wouldn't be like a straightforward FPS. I feel like those are pretty much already there.
The people who do that do it really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see, Impatient, are there any non-VR versions of VR games from the studio going to come out? Or on that note, is the studio going to be releasing more non-VR games like Mission It's Complicated? Let's see. So, like I said, we're working on a lot of location-based experiences right now. So we do have several non-VR games coming out. But in terms of more PC-based games, there are some that the studio's looking at, but in terms of putting forth a concerted effort of turning it into a fully published game yet, I think is still too early to be said. And yeah, and then the non-VR versions of VR games, I don't think that's going to be. It was more the opposite, right? Because like with Water Bears,
I think like outside of like things where we've taken it from non-VR to VR.
Yeah.
All our VR projects are like one thing we really work hard, our designers do, is that they try to make sure that like VR is essential to the experience or some component of VR is really important. So into like a non-VR game without like the hand controls or anything like that. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, just like you said, our VR games are besides Water Bears, our VR games are designed for VR.
Yeah.
Wolf Point KC, we're getting some more Mission Is Complicated. For Mission Is Complicated, can you give us more of an idea how the gameplay is going to be and what your thoughts were making the game? Well, I'll just say I'm so excited for you guys to learn more about Mission Is Complicated. It is a hilarious game. And we're looking at doing a dinner with the devs with the Mission Is Complicated team next month. So with more of the philosophy of the games, the gameplay, we can get into some more granular detail at the next dinner with the devs.
It's a great game though.
Yeah.
So I was happy to. I helped out just a tiny bit.
Hey, what did you do with it?
Mostly handling the Mac stuff. So.
Oh, cool.
But those guys have worked really hard. The writing is pretty hilarious. The characters are really great. The art's amazing. And it's like, it was really cool because, again, that started off as a much smaller idea.
Yeah.
And it kept on growing and growing, and the studio really supported them in exploring some wild paths for that game. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious. The game is just fun to play.
I love the title too.
Yeah.
You gotta say it like Mission. It's complicated.
Mission. It's complicated.
Yeah.
That's good. Are there plans for a series of games? Plan for a series of games. I mean, we have that conversation in the studio a lot of like how certain games can grow or if they're going to be sequels to the game or the grow again, like stuff like Until You Fall, which I think Impatient is trying to disguise his question as, which is totally fine. So we're thinking about all of those things. Again, just nothing really to announce. All right, Monogon, is there a specific game that you would like to create but can't?
So many.
Like what?
Mostly because I can't make games. Oh man, we're about to go way back into the depths here. So I used to be, or still am, a huge fan of this series of air combat games called Ace Combat, where you play as like a fighter pilot, and you go through a story, and you shoot down aircraft, and you usually fight like some basically like big, like basically the form of like an anime monster except in a flight sim game. So it's like instead of like fighting like Attack on Titan, like instead of fighting like a Titan, you're fighting like a massive like floating zeppelin that is like the size of a city or something. And those games are very fun. And I feel like now that we're working at a studio that does a lot of VR experiences, I feel like a game like that would be pretty cool. But again, I can't make games. I make websites.
Sounds like a Jam Week idea.
Yeah.
So.
But no, I don't know. Over the years, I've had plenty of just different ideas. I'm sure everyone does, but there's a difference between just having the ideas and being able to solidly create a plan to execute on it and then execute on it. So, yeah. If you want me to keep going, I will. But I don't think we need to.
All right, Mike, we could talk a little bit more about Too Close 2 after this, but let's talk about what a game that you would love to create but can't at the moment, maybe because of resources or a type of genre of the game, and then let's talk a little bit about Too Close.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like so much like you can make any kind of game, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like like as a studio, we often need to think of like economic realities and just dev realities. And what's the best use of everyone's time, right?
Right.
Like I might personally love match 3 puzzle games, but it's probably not the best use of the studio's time to build like a massive match 3 puzzle game built with like intricate story and characters and everything. So,
do you play game? I do this. Like, do you play games that are bad, but like you really like them?
Yeah,
I play that all the time.
Okay. I actually have one that would never fly because I don't even know who owns the license now. But I'm a massive Avatar: The Last Airbender fan.
Oh,
and
man.
So one of my dream games has always been because Avatar falls under a lot of licensed games where it's like the games are not particularly great. Some of them are better than others, but I played pretty much every Avatar game because I love the property.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
I played some not so great GBA DS games. So the PS2 games, okay. The Korra game that they released that was actually made by Platinum, but there's a lot of. I would love to make a game based around that world, but again, I don't even know who has the rights to that at this point. I don't know.
That's an easy angle to look at it from. Like, I would want to do like a Kill 6 Billion Demons game.
Oh,
I don't know what kind of game.
Yeah.
But just a game about that universe, right?
That would be great.
Yeah, there's a lot. I have a couple of those like sort of guilty pleasure games where like I know morally this is a bad game to play just because of like either one, the type of game it is, just the genre, or two, like the people who made it.
Let's go on Steam. Let's go profile invisible.
Yeah, basically. Okay, so like, have you ever heard of War Z?
Like World War Z?
Well, that's what you would think, right? But no, the people who made War Z, I think they intentionally named it
it's
after
the DayZ ripoff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
They renamed it though, right?
They renamed it into Infestation Survivor Stories.
Yeah, I own that because I bought it because I thought it was DayZ because I was an idiot. Okay, I was in college. I was
you
excited.
were one of them.
Yeah, and then maybe months later when I went to play it, I was like, hey, that game's gone. I never found it. And then later, this game that showed up in my library, and Survivor. What was the new name? I forgot.
Infestation: Survivor Stories.
It's not great, but it's not awful.
Now,
Yeah.
I have probably close to 1,000 hours in that
Wow.
game.
Wow.
And
Wow.
oh, well, I mean, I was like 12, so
Yeah,
like,
You're fine.
you got to give me a pass.
Yeah. Yep.
But like, oh man, that game was like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of concepts, even though the people who made that game were like not the most like objectionably like great. I mean, like they ran off with like a million, or not millions, but hundreds of thousands of
Oh,
dollars.
okay.
So, like,
There's actual fraud.
actual fraud. Like I'm not talking like, oh, they made a bad game. I'm talking like, no, they like
They
defrauded.
legally had to change their game's name.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
they
Okay.
defrauded customers, and they made the same game over and over and over again too. So first it was Infestation Survivor. Well, first it was War Z, and then they changed it into Infestation Survivor Stories. And then when that went under, they took the game engine and like all the contents and assets and made, I think it was Infestation, Romero's Aftermath, and then they made Shattered Skies. And then they made a cowboy-themed game, Survivor game, with like the same, and it's all the same engine, the same
Yeah.
graphics, the same
my goodness.
most of the
It's a
content.
deep rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
they produce content.
yeah. I mean, people kept buying them, so I mean, hey, I guess they made off with some money. But
You know Earth Defense Force?
I've heard of it.
That's
yeah,
that's one of my jams.
Oh,
I
Earth
have probably like
Defense.
100 hours in each
Yeah.
one of those. I love those. I know they're awful.
Mm.
It's kind of why they're good. Yeah, they're like
They're
broken.
B movie. They're B.
Literally
movie
B games. Yeah, the B movie games are also B games.
Yeah.
Like it's great.
But that's not always bad.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Let's see. Philip Donahue, is Schell looking to expand further into educational experiences on its own? Or are those type of products strongly dependent on partnerships, i.e. Happy Atoms? So we doing educational games is probably a staple of what Schell Games is all about, and we have several educational experiences in the works. Like you're working on History Maker, right?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a phase 2 of a Department of Education project, U.S. Department of Education project. We have projects in the works with Yale, with UPMC, University of Pittsburgh, National Institutes of Health. So we have some things in the works going on that will be coming out, and we'll be able to give more information in the future. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, and I guess so I guess the question was, we make those games often with partners.
Yeah, we do.
And I think one thing is like, we could make a standalone game, but honestly, one reason you want to work with the partners because we are not always the subject matter experts when it comes to those fields of education or those disciplines, right?
Right.
And so working with the partner, they are able to provide the expertise, whether that's on like health and wellness or whether that's on mental and emotional capabilities, or if that's about like just history and learning, like in History Maker, we are trying to be, I don't want to say accurate, but like we want to convey like a true sense of like learning and history, and having to work with subject matter experts always improves that.
Yeah.
Because like we don't want to be one of those people, it's like one of those companies where we just go on Wikipedia and it's like, oh yeah, I skimmed the Wikipedia article. I know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Okay, so we didn't get a chance to talk about Too Close. Now let's talk about it.
Let's see. So Too Close. So originally it was a prototype Mike made in about like a week, and then we were like, oh, this is nice, and then we played it for a while, and we're like, no, this is not fun, and we put it away for like
A year
or so.
Yeah, something. This was like in 2016. So
2016, maybe earlier.
Yeah.
Oh no, 2016 was a while.
yeah, 2016.
Yeah.
So-
So we put it away, and then after we finished our last game, it was like another mobile Twitch game called Outdodge.
Yep.
We're like, oh, what should we work on next? And then we're looking through our prototypes, and we're like, oh, this might be fun. Like
This looks
it's
like
funner
this-
than I remember.
Yeah, this looks like a short project that we could finish, and I think, and you make fun of me, but I said like, I think we could do this in like 8 months or something.
Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, it'll just be even faster. Just get something out there, just finish it.
Yep. But
Yes.
yeah, so Too Close is, we call it an anti-shooter. So it's like a bullet hell game, but you don't do any shooting. All you're doing is literally dodging spikes as they fall, and you sort of weave in and out if anyone's played like a bullet hell game. And we do a lot of work towards making it feel really good. So it's all with your finger, and you're just pushing around a single dot, basically. And there we do all sorts of stuff with particles and with slowing down time and giving you a lot of control and finesse to sort of dodge in and out. So
Yeah, I think a big part of the game, because like the main mechanic of the game was basically done with the prototype, but then it was like, okay, so this is the mechanic, so how do we structure around it to make it into like a full featured game? So like having a sense of progression, having a sense of accomplishment, being able to earn things and get better.
How do we teach players the different ways this mechanics works? How do we communicate feedback through effects? How do we just make it more interesting to look at? Mm-hmm. That was like a lot of the work. And, so to tie it back to Schell a little, so one of the cool things, if you're ever working at Schell, is like Schell, unlike other companies which we won't name, allows you to work on side projects, and you totally own those projects. It's not like that anything you work is owned by Schell. Schell is actually, as long as you get approval and you go through the proper channels and everything, you can work on side projects. And we have plenty of people at the studio working on their own games. And so we had the ability to sort of make this game. We've even play tested it with other people here at Schell. We've been showing it off around Pittsburgh at indie game meetups and everything. And over 4 years, we just slowly built it, and it's finally out after all that. I got married in that time, all that stuff. So, but yeah, we're really proud and excited that we got it out. It's free too, so it's like on iOS, and again, we're trying to get it out on Android in the future. I was about to say soon, but I'm not gonna say soon. I'm gonna say in the future. So, yep. So yeah, please check it out. You can just go to just search Too Close, or go to Too Close Game, but you can actually go to tooclosegame.com or tooclosega.me. Yep.
Too close. It's not like you guys can see this from over here.
Yeah. And then Allie, our fantastic moderator, put the link of the game in the live chat. So guys, please check it out. That's really cool that you guys were able to. I mean, shipping a game is hard. So getting
play it live. Yeah. Imagine we had like a hookup to like this.
Oh yeah.
I've been entertaining in the future live streams of playing, because we did it before with HoloLab Champions, of having
footage like side by side.
Yeah, and so it's a little hard to do because it demands a lot on the computer. So I think only the computer downstairs can handle it. I don't know if this one up here can.
You could do. I wonder. We're talking out loud now, but I wonder if it'd be fun for like I expect you to. The Die team or Until You Fall team to see watch people who are playing the game on video, because then you could just play in the background or something, or side by side.
Oh, that's true. That we could probably do.
There's actually, I will recommend the videos. I think IGN is doing it. It's devs watching speedruns of their game.
Oh yeah,
I saw some of those.
I watched the Control one, which is a great speedrun, but it's also hilarious. And I've seen the speedruns of I Expect You to Die, so I think that could work really well.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Gotta queue a bunch of them because they're pretty fast.
They're a short stream. It's like a 7-minute stream.
Oh yeah. Well, you
different speedruns.
Different levels. So. Yeah. Actually, no. I think you're right. You could probably do all the levels in 7 minutes if you really know.
I haven't checked the world record since the new level came out.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's probably about 10 now.
Yeah. Well, it's great because the Control one, because they have the designer and one of the lead level designers and one of the lead programmers.
Oh, that's cool.
And the designer's like, oh, that's so great. That's amazing. And you go like, oh, we put that ladder there, and it's like, we knew that they could do that, but that's really cool. And then you can hear the programmer just dying. Oh, I thought we fixed that.
The programmer's taking notes. It's like, okay, that's what he did.
Oh, I thought they couldn't do that anymore.
It's like, oh, this is going to be a patch. Okay, so we have a couple minutes left. Let's go through these last couple questions. So if you have any questions that you're sitting on, get them in now so Allie can put them in for us to answer. Oh, Jimmy Two Shoes. I like that. Well, would you guys ever consider a realistic VR sword fighting game similar to Chivalry?
I think we were talking about that earlier in the stream, right? Like how it's kind of hard.
Like realistic. Well, I guess that was more realistic
Like-
shooter, but I guess
Like
the
blade
same.
and sorcery leaning.
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah. The same answers would apply, right?
Yeah.
Blade and sorcery.
So I think we answered that. Impatient, does the studio plan to make more action and puzzle games, or are they going to branch out and keep trying new things? We try a little bit of everything. I mean, it's just a matter of what the studio priority is, if there's a team available that fits what the challenge is. So there are a couple of variables, but the studio's up to doing a little bit of
Yes.
everything. So yes,
Everything.
Yes.
yes, yes. Okay. Is there a specific game? Oh, we kind of answered. Did we? Yeah, we kind of answered that. Is there a specific game that you like to create but can't?
Yep.
What would VR, AR, or XR be in your wildest dreams?
Real.
Well, there's like the dystopian future, and then there's like the ideal, right?
The utopian.
There's the future where it's just implanted in your eye.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you just like
You don't know.
What is real?
and then the dystopian futures we're all in the Matrix. So.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, we'll skip that one. I think that any more in there, Allie?
No one's dropped anything out.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming and hanging out with our first Dinner with the Devs of 2020. We are, like I said, next month, I think we put around February 18th, February 19th. We hope to have the Mission is Complicated team up here to talk with us about the game and answer your questions about it. If you are interested in other Schell Games stuff, please subscribe to the newsletter. Just schellgames.com and scroll down to join the mailing list. For I Expect You Die or Until You Fall, there's a Discord. Discord.gg/until you fall, but there's a channel for I Expect You Die that we should give Tyler mod rights to for him to monitor and for you guys to know who he is. So thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we did have dinner before the stream. We had a chula in Pittsburgh. It was delicious, and yeah, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for watching.
Wishlist Mission It's Complicated on Steam.
That's right. Download Too Close on iOS.
Yeah.
Boom. Go. Thank you.